I am continuing in my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a little bit as I move along. Now, we have just read about the death of David's son Absalom. The rebellion has now been put down. We are in the winding up scene of this rebellion as we move into 2 Samuel chapter 19. Now, this is a somewhat long chapter, so I will be doing it in 2 videos. Let us read 2 Samuel chapter 19. Joab rebukes David for favoring his enemies instead of his friends. David replaces Joab with Amasa. Shimei, who cursed David, is pardoned. Mephibosheth pledges allegiance to David. The men of Judah take David back to Jerusalem. There's a lot going on here. Let's see if we can do it in 2 videos. Okay. And it was told Joab, Behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee in battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the king and said, Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and of the lives of thy concubines, in that thou lovest thine enemies and hatest thy friends. For thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well. Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night. And that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now. I love Joab's rebuke. And I'm not a big fan of Joab. Joab is a man who loves power, and he does what he can to maintain his power. But he's right in this instance. David is mourning Absalom. And I'm not saying David shouldn't mourn his son. But this kind of public mourning where he's refusing to welcome the army home. His army is coming back victorious. And back in this day especially, it was known as the triumph. The triumph wasn't winning the battle. The triumph was coming back to the city, with all the people there to welcome you back and praise you and celebrate your victory. That's what the triumph was. And David is denying that to his men, and says they snuck back in stealthily as if they were ashamed because Absalom was killed. They won the battle. They have preserved David's throne. And like Joab says, David is acting as if he wanted them to lose. He would have preferred it if Absalom had won the battle and everybody else had been killed. Because David, at this time, is too fanatically devoted to his children. And Joab is right. If David continued acting like this, all those who supported him, he had his army, his close army, his bodyguard kind of, that went with him out of Jerusalem. But when they came to Mahanaim, thousands flocked to his banner to oppose Absalom. And now with the way David's acting, there's the risk that all those who supported him will turn against him. And if that happens, David's done. He may have defeated Absalom, but if he continues to act like he's acting, he will lose the kingdom. Because David at this point is putting his personal life, his family, ahead of his duty, ahead of his people. And he will destroy his country out of love for his son. And that is misplaced love. Anyways, let us continue. Verse 8. And the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king doth sit in the gate, and all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, The king saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistines. And now he is fled out of the land for Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back? And I like that too. The people, David approves of what Joab says. He's a fine. And he goes out and he sits by the city gate and welcomes all the people in. He kind of puts on a show of gratitude. And the people accept it. And then all the people that were with Absalom are saying, wait a minute, we went against David. We upheld Absalom, but he's dead now. Why aren't we going back and trying to... So the conspiracy was led by Absalom, but even after his death, there were at least a significant number that didn't want to bring David back. They wanted to continue the conspiracy, continue the rebellion, and there were others saying, wait a minute, we tried it, we failed, Absalom's dead, let's just get back to what we were. Let's restore David as king over us. Let us accept that our rebellion lost. But let us see, verse 11. And King David sent to Zadok and to Abiathar the priests, saying, Speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, Why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house, seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king, even to his house? Ye are my brethren, ye are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye the last to bring back the king? And say ye to Amasa, Art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? God do so to me, and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word unto the king, Return thou and all thy servants. So the king returned and came to Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to go to meet the king, to conduct the king over Jordan. So we see this here. This is the factions that rose up. When Absalom was dead, it seems that Absalom's rebellion was largely within the tribe of Judah, which is where David is from. And Israel, all the rest of Israel, primarily sided with David. When the battle's over and Absalom's dead, it's still the tribe of Judah are the ones that are hesitant to bring David back. And it's the rest of Israel saying, why aren't you guys... And finally, David himself sends the message saying, why my own kindred the last to welcome me back as king? Now, there's an important thing here, that he does appoint Amasa to be captain of the host over Joab. Now, Amasa, he was the captain of Absalom's host. Absalom appointed him captain. And if I remember correctly, that Amasa is Absalom's cousin. And I said that we couldn't really be sure if he was also related to David because of the way it was described. But in this, it seems that he is also David's nephew. He is David's nephew, not by Zeruiah, but by his other sister. So there's some vagary stuff, some vagueness to the relationship, but he might just be meaning that they're both from the tribe of Judah. So, anyways, he does cast out Joab because apparently Joab, even though Joab was right in criticizing him and yelling at him for his ridiculous behavior in mourning Absalom, he got angry at him and cast him out. But he is making a rebel captain of the host now. Amasa was the leader of Absalom's army. And in some way, David may be thinking, well, Judah's not accepting me back as king, and if I appoint Amasa as captain of the host, then Judah's more likely to accept me as king. It may be a kind of a diplomatic move, but it's not a good one. Again, we see that David's ability to run the country, it has been severely hindered or handicapped from his guilt and his with his affair with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah. he's lost his divine inspiration, and he is just, again, making more blunders in his administration of the kingdom. But let us finish this video out. Let's go back verse 16. And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, which was of Bahurim, hasted and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him. And Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons and 20 servants with him. And they went over Jordan before the king. And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. And Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was come over Jordan, and said unto the king, Let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do thou remember that which thy servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For thy servant doth know that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph, to go down to meet my lord the king. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, answered and said, Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed? And David said, What have I to do with you, ye sons of Zeruiah, that ye should this day be adversaries unto me? Shall there any man be put to death for death this day in Israel? For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel? Therefore the king said unto Shimei, Thou shalt not die. And the king sware unto him. Okay, we're going to end the reading there. Shimei, remember, he was the one that followed David, throwing stones and cursing him. And at that time, Abishai wanted to go kill him. And again, I mentioned that he should have been at least chased away, should have been gotten rid of. Not necessarily killed, but definitely get rid of the guy, because he was just being a nuisance. And now, again, I think on this one, it's kind of hard to say, because, David did execute those who killed Saul, or claimed to kill Saul, and the two guys that murdered Ishbosheth. But they were guilty of murder, not just of, yelling out a few insults. So whether Abishai is justified in wanting to execute the guy is a little bit hazy. And at this point, I think David's right. David's saying, look, the battle's over. We need to get back to peace. Just let the guy go. On that one, I think David actually probably was right. But it's a little bit more hazy there. We're not quite sure. It's kind of hard to tell. But anyways, we will get into the rest of this chapter, wind up the scenes later. But remember, David, again, makes his blunder in appointing Amasa as captain of the guard in place of Joab. And this is done for two reasons, just to quickly summarize. As I said, diplomatically, he wanted to show Judah and show all the rebels that he was welcoming them back into the kingdom, that he wasn't going to retaliate against them. The leaders of the rebellion were dead. We'll welcome everybody else back. Now, Amasa was one of the leaders, because he was the captain of the host. So this is a bad move because of that. This is not just a simple soldier that David's pardoning for being on the wrong side. He is elevating one of the chief rebels to one of the highest positions in the kingdom. But he's also doing it in anger at Joab. He is saying, Joab, I don't care if you were right. You don't talk to me like that. I'm annoyed. I'm done with you. And he kicks Joab out. Him and Joab have been at odds multiple times. And so he is now fed up with Joab, and he kicks him out. Now remember, Joab is David's nephew. So is Abishai. So they're also both among David's mighty men, I think. Joab might not be, but Abishai is. We'll get to that later, though. See you in the next one.